Kenny here regarding Simplified. Today I'm out here in the workshop again. Seems like I'm always out here. And we're going to talk some more about preserving tomatoes, just a different kind. Now we have a bunch of cherry tomatoes here, a few that come off green. We just pick through. Some are just maybe not quite all the way right, but we'll use them just the same. And I say this is great when I built this shop 10 years ago, that I put in counters and the sink and all that because it works out perfect for preserving. But what I'm doing is, and these are Sun Golds, the other ones are Super Sweet 100s, and I'm cutting these up, and we're going to dehydrate these, and then we're going to freeze dry them. But don't think you have to have a freeze dryer and freeze dry them, because dehydrating them will keep them preserved for a good long time, and they've got some really nice uses. We interrupt this video for an important message. I had to throw that in there. One thing I didn't mention: whenever you're processing your food, get yourself a bamboo cutting board. Now, for those that are, I'm going to save the planet, we don't want to use wood. Bamboo is not a tree. It is a renewable resource. It just keeps regenerating. They cut them up, they grow right back. But bamboo it's a real tight grained. I would say wood, but it's not a wood. I think it's actually a grass. But if you ever noticed your cutting boards, and a lot of these people that's going to save the planet use the plastic cutting boards, which may be recycled or whatever. But plastic is detrimental to your health. And when you look at your plastic cutting board the next time and you see all those nice grooves, and wonder how many pieces of that plastic have gone into your body. And if you do your research, you're not going to like where they migrate to. But anyway, this is an important message. Anytime you're preserving, go ahead and get you a bamboo cutting board. They're good, strong, they last a long time, and they're not going to give you the problem that you're going to have with your other cutting boards. All right, once you get them cut up, and now to kind of do this over the sink, you're going to have to, and this takes a little bit of time, you're going to have to turn all these tomatoes over upside down, or where the cut side's up. We'll just put it that way. Now they can be touching, it doesn't matter. I'd say the more the merrier. And this, whenever we're doing this, is we're exposing it so the moisture can come up, and we're going to season these. Now, when you season these, when you dehydrate them, and you don't have to, but I prefer it that way because they make a real good snack, or I'll use them in salads. You can use them in dishes where you're cooking, like say some type of pasta, and you want some tomatoes in there. They'll rehydrate, and usually when they rehydrate, they've got a little bit more texture to them. They're not just falling apart when they're dehydrated like that. And I want to mention too that if you're going to dehydrate, now dehydrators come on all levels. A lot of them are real pricey. Now, the one that we use, and we did reviews. In fact, our sister-in-law had the Excalibur. That's what we have. It's a 9-tray. But I don't recommend any of them that use just the light bulb, or they use just a heating coil. You want something that you can regulate the temperature on, because in the end, that's what you're going to buy. You don't want to spend the money because something's cheaper and it's not going to meet your needs. Now, the Excalibur is not one of the most expensive dehydrators, but it is a good one. It is adjustable. You can take and set it for all kind of things, whether you're doing your herbs, whether you're doing uh, vegetables or fruit. You might want to do fruit roll-ups, different things that you want to make at home because you want healthier food. And you take and find one that is adjustable like that and it works good. Now, during the summertime, we don't have our dehydrator in the house, or it never stays in the house. Actually, it stays out here in the workshop in the winter on the counter if for some reason we've got something we want to dehydrate in cold weather. That way, it does supplement the heat in here, so it's not just losing that heat outside, but it also uh, works good out in the shop during the summertime because it has the extra heat from the day, so it doesn't run as much energy, and the air conditioner is not having to work double duty to keep everything cooled down. So think about that if you are dehydrating. We don't have, in fact, my dehydrator's got quite a bit of dust on it from sitting out there. That's primarily where it's been for a while. But if you're going to get a dehydrator, like I say, get one that is adjustable so you can change temperatures because everything doesn't dehydrate at the same temperature. And when you're new to it, you might not know that. Me, whenever I started getting ready to dehydrate, I start doing some research, and it's always good to do research. Don't just listen to one person's opinion or something like that. Do your research, get multiple opinions on it, check reviews, and sometimes you might get bad information with the good information, but just use your discernment. God give us that. Use your discernment and weed through all that information. But anyway, when you season these, now there's a lot of different ways you could season them. You could just salt and pepper them. We've done that before. You could use one of your major brands of seasonings, the Tony Sassery's. They've got the hot version. Now that's, or more heat now, I think is what they call it. Everything changes name. But if you like spicy, now what we like, and there is a copycat recipe on, you can Google it and it comes up on Reddit for Cavender's Greek seasoning. Now, I grew up where I had a grandmother that would cook. My grandfather was Italian, so she cooked Italian, but the community he lived in was Greek and Italian. People that had immigrated to the U.S., and that's not these things that come across the border. These were actually immigrants. And they grew up in this community up in Utah that was around Castlegate, Carbon County. And they were a lot of Greek people there and stuff. And so she learned to cook Greek and Italian. She was not Italian. In fact, I think she was English. And I grew up, when we visited my grandmother, I always remembered how good her food was. She loved to bake. From Christmas time, that's what she gave everybody, was baked goods. That's the time when people would make their gifts, and that was her. And you go into one of her rooms in her house, and it was just pies and cookies and candies all over the place because she just loved to do that kind of stuff. And more people need to get back to that type of thing, and that's one thing about doing these videos and talking about, and some of these things may be simple to certain people. Now, I never thought about dehydrating cherry tomatoes till I watched videos and they was talking about it, that was someone's favorite thing to do was dehydrate cherry tomatoes. Well, you know, when cherry tomatoes start coming on, they're so prolific. You end up with gobs and gobs of extras. Maybe you give them to your neighbors. Maybe that's your thing, but you don't want to waste them. And a lot of times you end up wasting them because you put them on the counter. You're waiting to eat them. A lot of them spoil, stuff like that. And this is the option. Now we're at a point now, and of course, most of you know that's been following me for a long time and watched videos that we do the farmers market, but it's got to the point that we have so many cherry tomatoes. Now we do sell a lot of them at the farmers market, but we've got way more than most people sell. Now, if we were in a big city, it might be different because you'd have a whole lot bigger market as far as more people coming to the market, and so you could probably get rid of them. But in a situation where kind of a larger town, but it's not like the city, so we have extras. Now, I've sat here and talked through this whole thing, so it wouldn't be boring watching me put these out. But now what I'm going to do is, and this is what I like, Cavender's Greek seasoning. It has a whole lot of different seasoning spices in it. Oregano, rosemary, such as that. But what I do is I come down here, and yeah, it's not all going on it. Some of it's going to go through it. But I go down here and I season these up. And that's the reason why I turn it up, is because the moisture's there is going to make it stay on. I could try to season these in the bowl and stir it around, but a lot of it would get on the outside, and when it starts dehydrating, it would lose a lot of that flavor. So we're going to do it this way, and we're going to continue to do the rest of these, and I won't bore you and talk your ears off, but we'll get the rest of these, and then we'll talk about the rest of the process. Okay, I've got a couple of trays filled up, spiced up, put in here. Now, this says Parallax X, but it's X caliber. And I just tell you that because I know this machine, and I've seen the reviews, no, pardon the dust on top. Now, it does have settings up here as far as where to set it. And whenever you're doing vegetables, you want to put it at 125, which is the orange area that's over here. So we're just going to go ahead and turn this on. It doesn't have to be full to start running it. And we're going to let these ones go. As long as this is running, I don't have to worry about flies coming around, stuff like that out here in the shop, because they're not going to bother it with the heater and the fan running on it. But we're going to continue to fill these trays. And it does take a little bit of time whenever you're preserving your own food. But there's a big difference in preserving your own food versus buying that so-called food-like substance in the store. And I say that a lot of people want to say, oh, that's all right for you, this or that. But if you start reading it, a lot of it, it's just not food. There's so many additives, so many different things in there that aren't preservatives that you wonder why they put them in there. And whenever you start eating your own food that you grow, you're going to realize that it's just much better for you. We're still doing more tomatoes. Tomatoes are something a lot of people grow. We've got more juice going right here. And hopefully we'll get this canned up today too. in a lot of my videos, I don't season stuff, but like my cherry tomatoes, I do season them. And that's because the way I'm going to use them, I know that's the only way I'm going to use them. If I do add them to, say, like a pasta or something, that seasoning is a good seasoning to go with the pasta. And anyway, we're going to get the rest of these trays loaded up. All right, I've run this dehydrator for about 2 days. Get them good and shrunk down and dried. Now, if you was going to just dehydrate these, and you can see how small these are now, kind of shriveled up. But if you was going to just preserve these, they're ready if you just do them dehydrated. But now the process that I use is they're going to go in the freeze dryer. All right, our freeze dryer is ready to go. We have our tomatoes in here, a whole batch in the dehydrator, and I only made 2 trays for our freeze dryer. We're doing a load with various things. We've got some Cajun bells, which are nice spicy bell, and we have some cayennes. Now, a lot of these was red, some were green, but and turning red. But you can mix loads, that's fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to close this thing, and we're going to start the freeze drying process. And there we go, after they're dehydrated and freeze dried. And they're so delicious. Now the first batch we did with Cavender's Greek seasoning. And this one here we did with the Xanaran's bold. So it's got good and spicy. Anyway, that's one way for you to preserve all those cherry tomatoes that's coming in. We just put an oxygen absorber here, put them in these jars, and then we're going to put our little vacuum attachment on it, and that'll do it. And there you have it. Now you have farm fresh fast food. These are excellent if you're going to make, say, a pasta salad or something. They easily rehydrate and give a nice spice to it. And that's a way to get rid of those cherry tomatoes that's when you have so many. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Hope it's helpful. You want to see more? Of course, hit that subscribe, hit the bell, select all. Give it a big thumbs up, and share this video. Enjoy that gardening experience.